will explain the federal systems in the context of the U.S. Constitution. Number 2, I will explain the purpose of U.S. constitutions and the structure of U.S. constitutions. Number 3, I will explain the major provisions of the first 3 articles of the U.S. constitutions. First 3 articles of U.S. Constitution is referred as a checks and balance system of the government. And I will explain the underlying concept of these 3 branches of the federal government. Number 4, I will tell you the congressional powers of Congress that impact the individual persons and the business. Number 5, I will explain the law of judicial review in interpreting the U.S. constitutions. Number 6, I will tell you the 3 standards of constitutional review and their applications. Number 7, I will tell you the congressional commerce power. Commerce power is one of the broadest power of the federal government. I'll tell you in subsequent slide. Number 8, I will tell you the constitutional restrictions of state regulation of commerce in the business environment. Number 9, I will explain how the taxing power, tax power, and the spending power impact the business. Number 10, I will tell you the Constitution's Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights is referred as the first 10 amendment is referred as a U.S. Bill of Rights. And I will explain how this U.S. Bill of Rights apply in the business environment. 11, I will explain the due process clauses and the equal protection clauses that limit the governmental wrongdoing, government overreaching. Number 12, I will explain the right of privacy in the business environment, in the workplace, how the right of privacy impact the employees in the workplace. Introduction. U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Supreme means highest level of law of the land. The U.S. Constitution provides the legal framework of our federal government, and U.S. Constitution provides the power, provide the authority to regulate the business activities and to regulate individuals' behavior. There are three functions of the U.S. Constitutions. First function, Constitution functions to establish the structure of the federal government. Structure of federal government. Number two, functions to grant the specific powers for the different three branches of the federal government: legislative branch, administrative branch, and judicial branches. Third, functions. Constitution functions to provide the procedural protections for U.S. citizens from wrongful government actions. Therefore, three functions: structure of the government, three branches, specific power, and the protection of individual persons from wrongdoing of the government. The U.S. Constitution consists of three parts: introductory statement, 7 articles, 27 amendments. The introductory statement is referred as a preamble. The preamble states that the U.S. Constitution's broad objective, broad goals, and preamble articles set out the structure and the power and the procedure of the U.S. Constitution. 7 articles. There are only 7 articles in the U.S. Constitution. At the time of establishing the U.S. Constitution at 1776. After the 1776, there are 27 amendments to the U.S. Constitutions. The changes to the U.S. Constitutions, the addition to the U.S. Constitution is referred as an amendment. These 27 amendments were designed to ensure the protection for individual persons against the potential abuse of the governmental power, governmental wrongdoing. The business and the Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution is referred as a U.S. Bill of Rights. U.S. Bill of Rights is similar to the England Bill of Rights because U.S. law was derived from the England law. First Amendment provides freedom of religion. Second Amendment provides the right to keep the armed weapon, right to bear the weapon. Therefore, any individual persons can buy and sell the gun in the U.S. territory based on the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Third Amendment prohibits the lodging of soldiers in any house without owner's consent during the peacetime. Therefore, in wartime, the soldiers have a legal right to lodge in any houses without owner's consent. Fourth Amendment prohibits the unreasonable search of individual persons' dwelling, prohibit an individual seizure of individual persons' items. Fifth Amendment provides the right to indictment by grand jury. Sixth Amendment provides right to speedy trial, right to public trial. Number 7 Amendment guarantee the jury trial in civil cases. Eighth Amendment prohibits the excessive penalty, the excessive bailment, prohibit the excessive cruel punishment, prohibit unusual punishment from the court. Number 9 Amendment establishes that people have additional rights in addition to those rights specified in the constitutions. Therefore, individual person has a variety of fundamental rights in addition to the provision of U.S. constitutions. Overview of the federal power. U.S. Constitution describes the principle of separation of power by giving the clear power to the Congress, to the President, to the federal court. Under this separation of power, federal government established tripartite government to ensure a separation of power, such as legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branches. Article 1 established legislative branches. The U.S. Congress composed of 2 legislative members, House of Representatives and Senate. Article 1 set the qualification for legislative members. Especially, Article 1 grants the congressional power, lawmaking power. Only legislative branch can make a law under the Article 1. Article 2 establishes the executive branch. Executive branch means the president. Only president, U.S. president have one executive branch, executive power. Executive power means the power to enforce the law that is made from the legislative branches. And Article 2 gives the command armed forces. Article 2 gives the making the treaties with foreign countries. Article 3 established judicial branches. With a federal system of courts, include the Supreme Court. Article 3 gives a certain judicial power, judicial review. A judicial review is a very, very important power. Under the judicial review doctrine, federal government can invalidate, cancel any law under this power. A system of checks and balance, check and balance system under the 3 articles of the U.S. Constitutions. Check and balance system is an underlying concept of 3 branches of U.S. government. In order to prevent the one branch from becoming supreme, in order to protect the opulent minority from the majority, in order to induce the branch to cooperate among 3 branches. A separation of power set of a system of checks and balance among 3 branches. This check and balance allows one branch to limit another branch. No, under this check and balance system, no single branch can control whole government. Whole government consists of tripartite branches. Okay, Article 4 established the relationship between the state government and federal government. Article 5 describes the process for amending the U.S. Constitutions. Article 6 established the Constitution, U.S. Constitution, and the federal law as a supreme law of U.S. over any state law and local government law. Article 6 authorized the national debt. Therefore, only Congress may borrow the money by issuing the federal bond under this Article 6. Public officers may take oaths to support the constitutions under this Article 6. Okay, judicial review. Judicial review is a very, very important doctrine. Under the judicial review doctrine, federal court can review any legislative actions, any legislative law, and can review the executive actions. Under this judicial review power, federal court have a right to invalidate, to cancel, to invoke, to override the state law and state actions and invalidate federal law and federal actions if that are inconsistent with the U.S. Constitutions. This judicial review principle is not expressly stated in the U.S. Constitution. This judicial review doctrine was established from the common law cases, Marbury versus Madison cases, landmark cases, 1803. This judicial review was the first established in Supreme Court decision in Marbury cases. In Marbury cases, the Supreme Court interpreted the U.S. Constitutions to grant the federal court, to give the federal court the power of judicial review to declare the statute and governmental actions for unconstitutional, okay, cancel any state law, state actions, any presidential actions, presidential order. A federal judge can cancel the Trump's order under this judicial review power. Applying the Constitution. There are three standards of judicial review. When federal court review the governmental action for constitutional soundness, the federal court classify the state actions and federal government actions into one of three categories of scrutiny: minimal scrutiny, intermediate level scrutiny, strict scrutiny test. There are three scrutiny tests in order to review any state action, any federal government actions. Under the minimal scrutiny test, if law has a rational basis, the law will be stand. The law will be considered as a constitutional. The age, disability, alienage are the categories of these rational basis tests. Under the intermediate level scrutiny test, law must substantially related to important governmental objective in order to stand, in order to be considered constitutional. Strict scrutiny test, provided that suspect classification such as the race, gender, ethnicity require higher level of scrutiny. Therefore, the law presumes invalid if the law is based on the race and race category, and the law is made based on ethnicity category and the law is made from the Congress based on the religion category. Then the federal judge will review this law in detail and cancel this law if not consistent with strict scrutiny test. Okay, another important doctrine is supremacy clauses and preemption power. The U.S. Constitution provided that the valid federal law are always supreme, always. The federal law are always in the highest level of law of the U.S. to any conflicting state law. Under the supremacy clauses, federal law preempt, federal law override any conflict, the state law. Federal law cancel any state law under these clauses. Therefore, these supremacy clauses mandated that all 50 state judges must follow the federal law, and a conflict is arised between the federal law and state law or state constitutions. State constitution is a second level of law. Federal law is a higher level than the state constitution. Commerce power. Commerce power is the Congress broadest power. The Congress one of the biggest power. This Congress biggest power is derived from the Commerce Clause. Article 1, Section A, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution's regularly state the commerce power, provide the commerce power. Under this commerce power, the Congress is given the power to regulate any commerce, any business transactions among the several states, the intrastate economics. The application of this commerce power is that the direct broad power, the direct and broad power is given to the Congress to regulate any individual persons, to regulate any product in the U.S. that is related to the flow of intrastate commerce. Under this power, commerce power, only Congress has the exclusive power, authority to regulate any channels of interstate commerce, interstate business transactions, such as railways and highways. Therefore, only Congress can regulate the freeway and highway and railway under this commerce power. Number two, only Congress can regulate the instrumentalities of interstate business transactions, such as the vehicle used in shipping. Therefore, only Congress can regulate trucks, vehicles that is used in shipping in one state to other state. Number three, only Congress can regulate any productions, any items, any inventories, any merchandise that is moving across the state lines. Number four, only Congress can regulate the economic activities, any activities, if those individual activities have a substantial effect on interstate business transactions. Okay? Therefore, the federal Congress can regulate any individual person's behavior in any state under this commerce power. Your behavior can be regulated from the federal Congress, non-regulated from the California government, can be individual California individual person's behavior can be regulated and punished from the Congress based on this commerce power. But the state, individual state, has a limited power, limited commerce power. The individual states are free to regulate the individual state commerce so long as it does not impose discriminatory law on out-of-state business, and the individual state law has a legitimated effort to regulate. Under this doctrine. Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment prohibits unlawful searches of any person's body. Prohibit unlawful searches of any person's dwelling houses. And Fourth Amendment prohibit the unlawful size of personal body. Prohibit unlawful size of personal property. This Fourth Amendment protects the individual citizens' right to be secure in their persons, in their dwelling houses, in their document. Okay? The criminal law provides any exceptions of such a seizure. That is, when the government the policeman and detective may search anybody, search the criminals without the warrant based on the probable causes that criminal activity is possible. Possible means the more than 80% percentage. However, U.S. Supreme Court has systematically applied the reasonable test to define these limitations of such and such for the criminals. Fifth Amendment. Under the Fifth Amendment, no person may be compelled, may be enforced to testify against himself. Everybody, every criminal has a legal right to be silent to any questions. This right, Fifth Amendment provides the right to refuse, to answer any questions on the ground that my answer might incriminate myself. My answering is very, very disadvantage for me. Therefore, I have a legal right to silence, to refuse, to answer your questions. However, this amendment, Fifth Amendment, does not apply to the corporate entities when the government is seeking certain business records. Only individual corporate officers, such as the CFO, Chief of Financial Officer, and COO, Chief of Operation Officer, and executive officers and employees are only entitled to these Fifth Amendment protections when they are facing a criminal investigation from the policeman, from the detective. Due process protections. Constitutions provide a lot of protections, a lot of Bill of Rights to the individual persons. One of these is a due process protections. Due process means fundamental fairness. There are two types of due process. Fifth Amendment provides federal government due process. 14th Amendment provide state government due process. This 14th Amendment makes the 5th Amendment applicable to the state. These important due process clauses protect any individual from being deprived of their life, their liberty, their property without due process of law. It means that the government cannot deprive individual person's rights, cannot deprive individual person's liberty, cannot deprive individual person's property without due process of law. Okay? The due process of law serves two purposes. First, to impose due process clause impose procedural requirement, procedural due process, procedural requirement on federal government and state government. Second, due process impose limit the substantive power of the state to regulate certain area that is affecting the individual person's liberty. I'll tell you in detail in the next slide. A due process clause interpreted to be guaranteed of protections from unreasonable procedure, guarantee the protection from unreasonable laws. There are two types of due process. Protection from unreasonable procedure is referred as a procedural due process. Protection from unreasonable law is referred as a substantive due process. Procedural due process, substantive due process. Procedural due process provided that any government decisions to take the other individual person's life, liberty, and property must be fair in order to take other people's life, liberty, and property. It requires the fair notice, fair hearing. Okay? Therefore, the detective wanted to catch the criminals. Then the detective must inform the criminals. You have a legal right to hire the attorney. You have a legal right to be silenced to my questions. If the detective violated this due procedural process, the criminals are free, is free, because detective, policeman violated this due process of law, procedural due process of law. However, substantive due process focus on the contents or focus on the registrations, the right focus on the right itself. The substantive contents of law must be fair. If substantive contents of law are not fair, then law is invalidated under the due process of law. Two types. I tell you the two types of due process: procedural due process, substantive due process. 14th Amendment provide the equal protections. All men and women are born equally. The God give the life equally. Give all persons the life equally, not differently. The equal protection clauses of the 14th Amendment apply to the state government and federal government when classifying the people. This equal protection prohibits the governmental actions. The government prohibits the government from treating one person differently than another person without reasonable ground for classifying a different. It means that the government treats everybody equally. Okay? That is the equal protection clause. The federal court judicially created the text, free text, because no constitutional right is absolute and the federal court. Therefore, the judges must balance the individual rights against the social purposes that is served by law that restricted any individual person's right. Therefore, when the judge rule the law, final judgment, the judge must balance the individual person's right and the social purposes. The court apply three type of means, ends, test, three scrutiny tests to review allegedly unconstitutional statute. These three level of scrutiny tests are strict scrutiny test, intermediate scrutiny test, and minimal scrutiny test. Under the scrutiny test, law is necessary to achieve the compelling state purpose in order to be considered constitutional. Fundamental rights are the category considered the category of state scrutiny groups. Under the intermediate scrutiny test, law must be substantially related to important government objective in order to be constitutional. Rational basis test, all economic rights are considered the minimum scrutiny categories. The law has a rational connection to the estimated government objective. The law will be survived as an equal protection challenges. Okay, privacy. We are almost done. Privacy, constitutional protection of a privacy right. The privacy right are not explicitly mentioned, stated in the constitutions, but privacy right play the central role and important role in our U.S. legal systems.